Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Today we're going to be talking about my rules that I use for trading. Now, these are mostly applying to leverage, but you can use these for any sort of trading. So we're going to go through all of those. But first, it's been a while since I posted a video. I've been super sick. I've been fighting for my life for like 5 days now. I got neurovirus really bad, been puking my absolute brains out. So I was finally able to eat some food today for the first time since like Friday, which was great. It tasted amazing. But anyways, we're going to be talking about some stuff going on in leverage trading here. But very first, before I talk about that, I have been working with a new exchange, BYDFi, and I have a link below if you want to try it out. But anyways, they changed. We had a custom, or I guess exclusive trading competition just for my viewers, so it's a very small amount of people. But here are the rewards. The original rewards were a little bit hard to obtain for very small spenders. I think most of the people who follow me, aren't huge professional leverage traders. So some of the trading volume was very hard to meet. So I asked them to kind of redo this exclusive trading competition. It goes from February 12th to March 12th. And so I'm a couple days behind. He just restarted it. And unfortunately, he reset it up for me while I was really sick. So I haven't been able to make a video on it. But use the link below. All you have to do is use the link in the pinned comment below. You can just sign up and then you'll come to this screen right here. You'll sign up here and you can see all the details here. You can go to rules and terms and all of that stuff. But basically, you just have to do some trading. It is a exchange that I've been trying out, and you can do all sorts of different types of leverage trading on it. So it's a pretty cool platform. But okay, so let me talk about my rules here and what I think about leverage trading. Okay. So I put together just my 5 rules that I am using for leverage trading. Okay, so entries are super important. Your entry matters a lot more than your exit, honestly. So if you can get a very good entry, then it's just really going to allow you to make a lot of profits. Now, I find myself bored and want to open up a leverage trade just, every day and just, oh, let's see if the market goes up today. Let's open a long, blah, blah, blah. Definitely don't do that. That's an easy way to lose a lot of money, is by kind of just guessing and not getting a good entry. So what I mean about a good entry, for example, we're on Bitcoin right now. Let's assume you're trading Bitcoin US dollars here. So what would I could say is a good entry? You can see, if I'm looking right here, you can see every time the price has come down and touched 91,900-ish, you can see a very nice pump to the upside. At least you're getting 4 or 5% every time you touch this. So this is what I mean by a support line. You can have a horizontal support line like this one. You can also have support lines that are channels like this, right? So if you're trading in this channel and you notice that you have this channel here, you can say, all right, if we touch this channel one more time, I'm going to take a long, we're going to go up here. You can put a stop loss below here. So this is what I mean by wait for good entries. We had a Solana pullback very recently. So where would I have opened a Solana trade if I wanted to trade Solana? What I would have done here is I would have noticed that, all right, we were all the way up here at an all-time high of about $300. The 50% Fibonacci level, you can see down here, is at 159.70, right? So you can see I would expect a big bounce off that support line. And if we even go back, you can see we had one big bounce just above that at about $170. But this 0.5 fib is another good place that has high support, right? That's like the 50%. It's like a major validation level for, a asset, right? So you can expect there that if we hit this, that we're going to get a bounce. Usually 50% levels are pretty good for bounces. And it even correlates with another line that I had drawn a very long time ago that had been following. So it's kind of like some double confluence in this spot. So you can see we did pump off that. Now, we didn't really see a big pump after this. You can see we actually went up 8%, and then now we're actually just down another 3%. But if you would have opened your trade at, I don't know, $161, for example, another little tip is on your entry is place it a little bit above this area, because a lot of people are going to be potentially placing orders here. So if you really want it to get filled, just place it a little bit, maybe 1% above that, or just a little bit above the line you can see here. So that would have been a good entry there. Litecoin, if we're looking at entries, where would I do it? So what I like to do is I like to draw these white lines, basically showing support, and these orange lines they're throwing, showing like kind of diagonal support. So you can see this line that basically you take 2 points on the 4-hour chart. I like the 4-hour chart or 1-hour chart. 4 hours nice though. You can see draw through the candle close, draw through the candle close. You can see that we're going to have some support here. Now, this was a massive liquidation event, so going this far below is not really normal, and it was just a wick. That was kind of like they call them black swan events. So, you can't always prepare for it, but that's what I do. Okay. Now, the next tip here is max leverage. If you're using leverage, again, leverage is super risky. And I do have some links below. If you want to sign up for Bitunix or BYDFi or BTCC, I do trade mostly on Bitunix right now just because most of my funds are here. I have a pretty nice Litecoin trade open. So feel free to use those links below if you want to try this out. But in my personal recommendation, the way I trade, I usually trade a little bit longer time frames. I like to basically get a good entry, let the price go up, and then move my stop loss in the profit above as I move up, right? So I like doing that with 3x on alts because trading alts is kind of like already having leverage, right? And you can get really negative on a trade really, really quickly if you're using more than 3x leverage on an altcoin. And on Bitcoin, I like to limit it to 5x. You can also use just 3x leverage on Bitcoin if you want as well. But this will just really help you if the market goes the wrong direction. Now, there's a bunch of different trading strategies. Some people like to use really high leverage and then set a really close stop loss and take profit. But for me, I find that it's so volatile that when you have higher leverage, you get stopped out all the time, and you basically just lose all your money to getting stopped out, in my personal experience so far. So that's what I like to do. Those are the leverage I use. Rule 3, what do we got for rule 3 here? Only use a small percentage of your total portfolio, okay? This is huge because especially I don't really like to use stop losses because I feel like I always hit the stop losses. Maybe I'm just not good at placing them, but I feel like if you're really bullish on an asset and you know the general direction of the asset. Now, what do I mean by general direction, right? If I zoom out, we'll just take Bitcoin as an example. We've been in a bull market basically since 2023, really since the end of 2022, right? The price has really only gone up. So if I know the general direction is up and I get a good entry, I know that if I'm a little bit negative on a trade, I don't need to close it right away in a loss, right? So when you only use, max 25%, when I say max 25%, that means maybe use 5% for your first trade. And then if it goes back a little bit, you can add another 5%. And if it goes back a little bit more, you can add another 5%, but don't go above 25%. This gives you the option to continue to add more margin so you don't get liquidated, okay? If you trade with a huge percent of your portfolio, it's really easy to get your entire portfolio liquidated. So you have to be very careful with how much you're using with every trade. So, I'll just use Bitunix as an example. You can see right now I have $10,000 in margin use. So that's the amount I'm using right now. I think you can see it. Maybe my head's in the way. But my whole account here is like 80,000, right? So you can see that's a lot less than 25%, right? And that just means that you can see it doesn't even have a liquidation price on Bitcoin for me. It could literally go to 0 and I wouldn't get my account liquidated, right? That's what you want to do, especially if you're trading cross margin, right? There's different types of margin. It's not quite as essential if you're not using cross margin, but if you're using cross margin and you don't want to risk your entire account getting liquidated, make sure that you're using a very small percentage of your total account. That is super, super important. Cross margin is just when you basically use all of your assets as margin. Otherwise, when you have isolated, that means if you get to negative 100%, that trade is liquidated, right? So there's just two different ways to do your leverage trading, but that is a huge recommendation for me there. Now, another one is winning and losing a trade. If you win or lose a trade, don't just go right back into that trade right after. I've done this a lot where, okay, let's say I make a really good Litecoin trade. I make a really nice profit, and I take my profits, and then the price starts going up. Don't chase that and now open up another long, because I already had one successful long. Just take your profits, walk away, regroup, wait for another entry. It kind of goes back to my first rule, wait for a good entry, right? And I find myself, if I close out a trade, that if that trade starts running again, I'm like, oh no, I got FOMO now. Let me get right back in that trade. And usually now I'm thinking emotionally, and I'm not thinking, all right, here's a great time for me to enter this trade. Here's, I'm at support. We had a nice pullback. It's time to go. So if you don't want to get in that habit, you can also just close a small percentage of your trade. So right here, say I want to close a little bit of my Litecoin trade. I can just press this right here, right? And I can enter, all right, I'm going to close 50% of my trade. I'm going to close it right now. I've already done that a couple of times. You can see I've already realized $566 in profits, and I still have 117. So don't double down, all right? Because a lot of times, and if you see something moving up really quickly, don't try to chase it and get into it, right? That's more about getting a good entry. But again, they kind of tie hand in hand, right? If you win a trade, don't just go right back in that trade expecting to win again, because usually that means your emotions are kind of compromised, right? Trading is more about emotions than it is about technical skill, right? If you have patience and you wait for a good trade opportunity, like imagine if you had a bunch and then you saw this big liquidation event we had, you could have opened a frickin' trade on Litecoin at $80 frickin' dollars. You know what I mean? So just imagine how much profit you can make if you were to open up a trade at 80. You're up 70% times whatever your leverage is. So you're up a lot of money, right? So if you can wait for those really good entries and be patient, you'll make a lot more money than if you don't. Last one, once you're well in the profit, set a stop loss. This one will save your life when something like this massive liquidation event happens, right? So, when this went down to freaking $80, if you didn't have a stop loss in the profit, then you could have your whole account liquidated. You could be down a lot and just waiting months and months and months. And you're basically paying fees when you have margin. So it's really important to set a stop loss. You can see I have one right now. So if I go to like the 15-minute here, you can see that I have my stop loss right here set. So basically, if it comes down and hits my stop loss, I'm going to make $36, not lose it. My stop loss is in the profit, right? So no matter what, if this were to just drop right now to $10 out of nowhere because we have some crazy black swan event, I still get to close my trade in the profit. So that's really important, especially if you're up if you're up 100% or even 200% or something crazy, you could even take out your initial that you put in, and then everything else is all profit, right? So either do that or set your stop loss in the profit. And that just, black swan events is what really hurts traders. A black swan event is just something that you can't really foresee happening, like COVID-19. That was a black swan event, right? We had a huge drop. No one was expecting that. So it kind of came out of nowhere. And, the yen carry trade and this other massive liquidation event, which was all market manipulation. Those are black swan events. So you have to plan for the worst. What do they say? What is the word? Plan for the worst. Anyways, there's a saying that is, my brain's still not working fully after this, after puking my brains out for so many days. My brain's still not back at 100%. But anyways, yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for the video. These are the trading rules that I've put together. And it seems that every time I break these trading rules, I lose money and it hurts my life, right? So it's like, I want to literally print these out and put them on the wall up there and just look at these and say, all right, there's my 5 rules. Don't ever break them. So that's it. That's going to be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit that like, hit that subscribe button, leave a comment below. Is there any rules that you guys use? I would love to hear them in a comment below. So let me know what rules you guys use for trading. And if you want to sign up for any of the exchanges, I use Bitunix, again, BYDFi and BTCC. I have links below. They help me out and they help you out. They have a huge reduction in fees for you guys. And there's usually newcomer bonuses where you can get a bunch of money if you deposit money, etc. So that's it for the video. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.